Hello class, my name is Asher and my presentation will be on the book series, A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket. So the series starts off with the Baudelaire family, which consists of the two parents, and then the three children, which is Violet, the daughter, Klaus, the son, and then Sunny, who's the second daughter and is an infant. The story begins with the house burning down that the family lives in, and the two parents are trapped in the fire while the children are away. And so since the children are now orphans, all they have left from their parents is the massive fortune that they left them in the bank. And the children are below the age of 18, so they still have to have a legal guardian, and so they have to go on a search for that. And so throughout the book series, they go through all these different guardians, and the first one they come across is Count Olaf, which is a friend of their family's. And Count Olaf is conspiring to steal their fortune through any means necessary. Through all the whole series, he's the main villain, and he will do anything from killing people to even attempting to marry Violet, who technically would still be his daughter because of the parental guardian thing. So he's just really weird, and he just looks to, get their fortune in his hands because that's all he really cares about. And so it goes through the whole series of him attempting to get the fortune, and he gets closer and closer. But then in the end, you never get any of your questions answered, or nothing actually ends up happening. So that's kind of the whole thing of the story, is that it doesn't really matter what happened, as long as you just in the end, it doesn't really matter if you know what happens, as long as while you're reading it you're entertained and enjoying the story that you're going along with. And so now I'm going to move into how the story connects to a theme from our class, which is, for me, I'm doing the hero theme. And so I think that the hero in this story is clear-cut, not just one person, because throughout the whole story you have the three orphans, but also they have help from outside sources that are continuous recurring characters throughout all 13 of the books in the series. And so you could look at one of those other helping characters. The one I would mostly name is Jock Snicket, who is supposed to be the brother of the author, but really the brother is not real. And so the whole story is also narrated by the author. So he is technically a character in this universe with his brother. And so they, throughout the whole series, are trying to stop Count Olaf and help the children get truly good parents and escape Count Olaf and get Olaf put in jail. And so as they are great stories, I think the real hero character is the culmination of the three orphans, because throughout the whole series, they are always there and go through everything, every trial, every tribulation to get to the freedom that they so rightfully deserve. And so I think that makes them the true hero through the story, because they have just such a tragic backstory too, and they just constantly have to work for what they want and hopefully eventually get it, but you never really get to find out. And so also I'm going to go into a theme from the stories that I found interesting, which is that in writing the stories, Lemony Snicket, the author, had the plan to make the whole series through the eyes of these children, and all the adults treat them in a way that children who are ignored in real life are treated. And so they wanted to show the world of people that aren't ignored by adults and that don't get in the portion of children that are lucky enough to have wonderful parents, what it's like to have adults and just no one really listen to you, while you just kind of get whisked through the system of just being an orphan in that situation, or just having poor parents, as you just can't have a fair shot at life or have an equal life that anyone else in a better situation would have. And so I think that's really interesting, because when you read it as a child, you don't really notice that, and you're just kind of like, yeah, these adults kind of suck. But when you go back and not really read the whole thing or anything like that, but just kind of look back at any of the portions of the stories, you just realize that the adults are just so ridiculous that it has to be on purpose. And so I think that's just a really great point that the author tries to make in the stories. And that concludes my presentation.